Well, thank you so much for tuning into Car and Bike once again. Your dream car, doesn't matter if it's sold in India or not, doesn't matter if it's left-hand drive or right-hand drive, can become a reality really soon on Indian roads because of this man right here. This is Rob Hill. He is the CEO of Autogroup International.
Absolutely.
And you've made something possible that maybe wasn't really possible a few years back, right?
Very true. Well, we have been making dreams come true for 30 years, but certainly from an Indian perspective, and the first Hummer EV landing here, I think made lots of people aware of, oh, hang on a second, this is possible. This is kind of cool.
Yeah, so I mean, how does the whole thing work? Because we've heard too many complicated stories about, left-hand drive vehicle coming to India,
Yes.
You pay high taxes.
Yes.
Do we comply with regulations? Is it even possible? So, I mean, where does the process start? How long is the process?
Absolutely. So look, the answer is yes, it's possible. And yes, it's also complex, but then, 30 years of doing this, 5,000 vehicles, 250 team members. So it's complex, but that is what we do. And effectively what we do is we source our vehicles from North America.
Okay.
So whether it's a Hummer EV or a Lincoln Navigator or a Dodge Challenger, whatever else it happens to be, source the vehicle in North America, we ship it to our conversion facility in Sri Lanka, where I've got a team of 200 people. And that is where our engineers, our mechanics, our incredible team convert the vehicle from left-hand drive to right-hand drive. The trick for India, and indeed the trick for Australia, is to ensure that the vehicles are compliant, are homologated correctly.
Correct. So how do you ensure that?
Well, look, it's again, in a way, it's easy, but it's complex. We've got a team of 25 odd plus who work in our compliance and homologation team, and their world is all about ensuring that the vehicles meet safety standards, which is fundamentally what the compliance is all about, whether it's crash test elements or seat belts or lighting and those sorts of things. And I guess in our benefit, we're an Australian business and we set up 30 years ago doing this, but we have always sent vehicles to Australia, which, like India, have extraordinarily tough compliance or homologation regulations. So for us, in a way, it's easy because we've been doing it for so long.
Okay.
Because every single vehicle that we build is complied to enable us to go into Australia or India or the UK or South Africa. So that's probably the magic piece.
So we've seen original equipment manufacturers across the world sell the same vehicle in left-hand drive and right-hand drive formats in different countries. Is the process pretty much the same that you also follow when you purchase a vehicle which is left-hand drive?
We do. So I guess the thing to understand is we don't just randomly pick a car and go, oh, let's convert that to right-hand drive.
Right.
So we have a very significant R&D investment when it comes to picking a new vehicle. And to your point, a lot of the OEM manufacturers in North America simply do not produce a right-hand drive variant.
Yeah.
That's been our world for 30 years.
Okay.
That's why we exist, because they, pick the brand, let's pick the Hummer as an example, or a Dodge Challenger. They just simply don't see a big enough market across the world to build out a right-hand drive vehicle. So we have always existed and grown over the years to fill that need, which is actually kind of cool. It means we get to play with some pretty spectacular vehicles. And I think the point for us is that, we are an automotive manufacturer.
Right.
We don't, let's pick a dashboard. Everybody can conceptually get that we move the steering wheel from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. We just don't go and get a dashboard in China. A dashboard is 30 or 40 components. All of those are reverse engineered by my engineering team, and we then remanufacture all of the components. So whether it's metal, whether it's plastic, 3D printed, all of the bits and pieces to ensure that ultimately the vehicle that our customer gets is perfect, but actually most particularly that it's safe. That is
So this sounds like it might be taking a fair bit of time from start to end, right? So if I order a vehicle in India sitting today, say a Hummer EV, for example, how much time would it take for me to, first, the availability in the US, is that an issue? Do you get it right away?
Yeah, well, what we normally allow is around 90 days, 90 to 100 days. And I guess the sense is, so we've got an operation both in Canada and the US, that's where we source our vehicles from. We've got to allow about 55 days for sea freight from North America to Sri Lanka. Most of our vehicles take about 21 days to convert. And then...
that's not bad. Yeah,
it's we're pretty good at it. We've done it once or twice. And then sort of a week or 10 days to get to India. So broadly 90 days. We have some customers that fly vehicles in. So instead of doing the 55-day sea route, they fly it from North America to us in Sri Lanka, which is, it's not cheap to fly
I'm
a
sure,
vehicle,
I'm sure.
particularly a Hummer. I mean, they weigh 4,300 kilograms.
I'm
It's,
sure. So is that the most popular vehicle you've been working with for a while, or
No. I mean,
especially
look,
with-
it varies by market. So Australia is predominantly pickup truck land.
All right.
Hundreds of thousands and thousands of pickup trucks. It's,
Okay.
in the Australian world, they want to be able to tow a caravan or a boat or a horse trailer, and it's the world of big pickup trucks. Through other countries, we do a lot of things like the Hummer. So the Hummer, the Lincoln Navigator, the GMC Yukon Denali, and the Ford Bronco, they're kind of those big American SUVs that are very popular.
Right.
And there are always, crazy boys that want to have a Dodge Challenger or a Chev Camaro.
Right. I think it would be safe to say that for us in India, for a lot of people, it is the Hummer that invokes a different kind of an emotion
It does.
or a response. Have you noticed that?
Oh, look, most definitely. It's an iconic vehicle.
Right.
And when you think back to, the H2 Hummers coming out in 2002.
Okay.
And it's interesting, a couple of points. So pedigree-wise, we've converted hundreds of Hummers. So the right-hand drive Hummers that you will have seen in India in the early 2000s, they were ours.
Right. Okay.
There are some amazing Indian cricketers who have our Hummers.
Okay.
In my office, I've got an incredible signed jersey from quite a pretty good Indian. And I don't want to talk too much about Indian cricket, because obviously India and Australia are playing at the moment, and I'm not feeling super confident about that. But so all the way back to 2004, when we first started
Right.
converting Hummers, to now with the EVs. And the thing that I like, there's lots of things to like about them.
Correct.
The striking thing to me initially was that they actually, with the new vehicles, and we've got an old H3, it's one of our museum pieces, and putting them next door to each other, they're a good modern iteration of it. Often you find heritage vehicles like that and they bring out a new one, it doesn't resemble the vehicle, but you can see all of the design themes flow through it. And then of course, it's EV, which is kind of cool.
Right.
The sheer power, 0 to 100.
Right.
And in fact, we were in Hyderabad a couple of days ago filming our Hummer. That was the first one in India.
Okay.
And, big open road, and you put it into the watts to freedom, the WTF mode. And I tell you what, 0 to 100 in a Hummer is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
We're waiting for a chance to sample that.
Oh, yeah.
But what are the kind of expenditures we're looking at, from purchasing the vehicle, say in the US, to
Yes.
transporting, to converting,
Yes.
to importing in India?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the...
We sort of break it into two areas. So if customers are working with us, we kind of talk about a price up until port in India. So for us, that is the brand new vehicle sourced out of North America. And of course, customers have the ability to go, do I want a 2X or a 3X, a 2-motor, 3-motor? What exterior color do I want? There are 2 interior trims, sort of the lighter and the darker one. And there's 3 or 4 or 5 cool factory options that people can select. So ultimately, we pick the vehicle that the customer wants. We then ship it from North America to Sri Lanka. We do the conversion and we ship it to port in India. And all of our vehicles, importantly, come with a full 3-year warranty on the entire vehicle. And again, kind of backed by 30 years, the fact we've been doing this a heck of a long time. So from that perspective, the vehicles are somewhere between 150 and 200,000 US dollars landing to port in India.
That's the complete cost.
That's everything. That's vehicle, sea freight, insurance, conversion,
import
warranty.
duties.
No.
Okay.
Import duties are on top of that.
Okay.
So import duties into the country, we talk about it being about 120%.
Right.
So there's 100% tax on the EV.
Correct.
There's a 10% tax on social welfare. I always forget the name of it in India, and then GST.
All right.
So on that landed price, the duty is about 120%. And then you've got your vehicle legally in the country, all of your duties paid. And that I think is one of the important things of working with us directly or through our partners, is that we don't work in a world of selling one car and making money. Our business is long-term, multi-generational, decades of operation. We don't do dodgy things on tax, because it's just not, for one vehicle, it's not worth.
Right, absolutely.
And ultimately for our customers, it's a lot of our customers who buy the vehicles are successful people.
Okay.
And everybody wants the best price, naturally.
Correct.
But equally, nobody wants to be breaking the law.
Right,
So
absolutely, of course.
That's the key for us. But yeah, so that's sort of the numbers, depending upon the configuration, kind of $150,000 to $200,000.
Plus the duties.
And then the duties on top of it, and then you have your vehicle in a way.
And do you have, you spoke about partners. Do you, once the vehicle is purchased,
Yes.
it's covered in the warranty, of course. But
Indeed.
how do the service visits happen? What do you do with it?
So for customers who work with us directly, we handle that. And again, you've got to imagine that not even imagine, the reality is we've got 5,000 vehicles in 41 countries around the world.
Okay.
All of them we provide a warranty on. Some are easier than others. Australia for us is simple. We've got a big operation there. It's dead easy. UK is easy. India is easy. I mean, we are, Colombo to here, we're a 2-hour flight away. It gets more complex when we've got vehicles in Zimbabwe or South Africa or Kenya or other places. But our team provides all of the support. And the support really, it's often in 3 separate areas, because one is often because you get your new vehicle and there's often a combination question of how do I put on crab walk mode or WTF mode. So we've got a full customer service team who support that. From a servicing perspective, again, we do that. Modern cars are relatively easy. You plug in a scan tool.
Especially an EV, you think it's slightly easier.
And I guess the thing with the EVs, there are a lot less issues, a lot less moving parts.
Correct, that's what everyone says.
It is, yeah. And I guess, moddern cars have really moved on from, when Dad started the business 30 years ago, they were properly analog, properly, engine motor cars. You needed to be an experienced mechanic to be able to listen out for it or hear what that tapping or noise was and diagnose it. Now, you plug the computer and it tells you everything you need to know. So that helps us handle service work and indeed any faults that occur. I think the other part of it is that we're very careful of the vehicles that we convert. So we just don't, if you ring and say, Rob, I really want this, we'll often say no. And we say that because sometimes the build quality of the vehicles is not very good. There are some of the EVs that are out there that they're incredibly exciting, but actually when you look at the quality, you're like, I don't want to be responsible.
You don't want to name
for this.
them.
I don't want to name them, but you read between the lines. So we're pretty selective. And the other thing is, and again, it kind of all is connected. To get to the compliance level, you need to convert them correctly. You need to have conformity production and those sorts of things. So for us, it all stems back from the vehicle choice and doing the conversion correctly. And I guess we're smart enough, and we've probably learnt the lesson over the years, that the corner that you cut today, the customer might not know in 3 months' time, but it's probably going to come and bite you in the backside in a year or two's time. That's how it works.
So tell me, any other vehicle apart from the Hummer which has sort of gotten you a good response from the Indian market? Or people want to know more about that particular
there is. In fact, the interesting thing with the Indian market is that it's become evident that the vehicle needs to be in country. And the Hummer's a good example. When the first Hummer landed in India, it went, from a social media point, it went absolutely viral. So there is no doubt that there is a huge demand for the non-EV SUV. So the Yukon Denali and the Lincoln Navigator. We do hundreds of them, and they're beautiful, big American SUVs, proper 7-seaters. Powerful, they tick all of the boxes. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few of those on the roads shortly.
We look forward to that. But tell me, what do you have? What are your intentions for the Indian market? Do you have a long-term plan that this is what I want to achieve over the next 4-5 years?
Absolutely. I see India, and for a number of reasons, I see India as our next major market. I'm here. Obviously, we've got our vehicles. One has been seen in the media. You will see a whole bunch of vehicles appear over the coming weeks and months. This is part of our strategy. These things just don't happen by random chance. We're quite strategic operators. But I see Autogroup having a presence in India. I love it. Why wouldn't you? It's an incredible country, incredible people, great cultures. Food is insane. Cricket, I'm not so sure about. We'll see how the first test goes.
Super. We look forward to seeing more of these vehicles on Indian roads that we haven't seen before. Wish you all the best, and thank you so much for talking to us today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. Cheers.